This has been quite the experience. We were not, I'm assuming that everybody here is probably going to be doing the games too. Where are they at? You guys all doing that today too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not understand what I was getting myself into. I had no clue what this was. Yes, that's kind of what it was. Like this whole trip has been absolute mayhem. Like the lug nuts on my truck whenever we were driving out, just all of a sudden started clinging, they fell off. We stopped, had to get a different truck to come out here, and then we're like, oh yeah, just it's gonna be a slip and slide kickball tournament. I'm like, oh cool, Then we get here, I'm like, oh shit. This is that shitbanger party that we throw that everybody shows up at. Really inappropriate shit starts happening. But no, they asked me to come up here and do this seminar. And if you guys, I'm assuming many of you watch all my videos, a lot of you guys start seeing pretty much everything I do and what I'm about. I'm a blue collar guy, not quite as small of a town as this. Growing up like that, it really starts cutting out all the bullshit in life. And whenever I first got into bodybuilding, I've always lifted, was into bodybuilding young, but whenever I turned pro in 2009, I was the clean cut white kid. I had a specific look. It was really marketable. Who buys supplements? Young white kids. All these things, and it was kind of like that was the angle I took with it because I really didn't understand the industry and I didn't understand who I was as a person. So whenever I was into it, I still was somewhat myself, but as I got further and further into it, made more money and more money at a young age, it kind of changed me. And it changed me to a point where I really didn't like how things went. I was becoming something I wasn't. I became the typical industry person, a philandering fuck, as I put it. I lost kind of sight of what was important in life, and that's real life. Not so much the social media world that we all love and are hooked onto, but the real life portion of it all. So in 2012, I had some crazy health problems happen. I had, my home life was a mess. Nothing was adding up, so I said, fuck it. It's time for me to step away and just go back to work. Just go back to real life. I grew up doing hard labor since I was 12 years old, working for my old man. And so I left 2013. I stepped away from everything. Gave up my contract with Muscle Tech. They were like, no, we'd like you to stay. I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm gone, man. I can't do this no more. So I left. And then I had my own landscape company for a couple years and decided I didn't like that anymore. And then after that, I went into, I was a safety consultant. That's what my degree from college is. I was a safety consultant for a couple of years. And in that time, I was like, yeah, I don't like this either. I was good at everything that I did. I've always been able to just, whatever I put my mind to, I've been able to achieve. And I was like, man, I fucking miss bodybuilding. And then I started talking to Jason Hunt. And he's like, you should come back. He's like, but if you come back, be yourself. Don't be that guy that you were, that like you listened to what everybody said. You conformed to everything. You never really opened up. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a fucking plan. That's what I want to do. So I started forming this concept of who I was as a person. I had the beard. I worked every day, woke up 4:30 every morning, got the kids ready for school, did whatever I had to do, yada yada, then went to work for 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, came home, went to the gym. All the shit that we grind every fucking day that gets under our skin, And I was like, nobody makes that shit cool. Why does nobody make that cool in our industry? Because that's the real life portion of everything. That's what you are. How many people in here work a real job? Meaning you have to fucking show up for work on time. How many people still go to the gym? How many people still have aspirations and dreams? This isn't a fucking joke. This is what you want to go after in life. And there's people out there that are pushing it, but no one's pushing the grind in the sense that I saw it, that roughneck, hardcore work, the small town-esque feel to shit. And I was like, well, that's what roughnecks are. I was working in the oil industry here and there. I grew up in construction, worked in manufacturing, production, you name it, I saw it. And I was like, these people are the fabric of America. That's what makes us great. And I was like, I'm going with it. And that's where the All-American Roughneck theme came from. It came from real life, hard work, no bullshit, in your face. This is how it's gonna fucking go. This is what I have to do, and this is how I'm gonna achieve it. So in the beginning, we were throwing this idea around. People were telling me, dude, don't do apparel. Apparel is one of the hardest things to get into in our industry. And I'm like, yeah, but I have an idea, and this isn't just a fictitious game. This is real life, and that's where this started forming. And needless to say, I came back, and Bob here, my video guy, we have common morals. This is my business partner, and whenever we started funneling all this, that's where the real life portion came from. Because I said, whenever I start coming on camera and what I'm doing, I'm not holding back. I'm going to talk about all the shit that no one else talks about in this industry. I'm going to talk about all the hardships that we go through. Because like I said, everybody wakes up in the morning and goes to work. Everybody's got a dickhead boss. Some people got okay workers. Everybody's got to come back after the day's over. They got to buy groceries. They got to live on a budget. They got to go to the gym. They want to look good. They want to have a good relationship. They want all these wonderful things in life. But it's really fucking hard. Everybody in here that's been in a relationship for over 2 years is past the honeymoon period. Let's face it. You see the person shit, fart, puke, all of it. And you're like, yeah, I still love you. You're good, don't worry. That's real life. Those are the things that not a lot of people talk about, but I don't give a fuck. And then whenever I started pushing the other envelopes of steroids, drugs, and life, that's whenever we noticed that we started having a lot. Because those are the things that make up your day. Those are the things that make up the realness of it all. So, and how I noticed it from like a social media standpoint, where I tied everything together with what I'm doing, is I noticed that not a lot of people like to admit their faults. Not a lot of people like to talk about the stupid shit they did. Not a lot of people want to talk about, anything that went wrong. I still have things in my life that go on that I'm still a little hesitant to talk about because they involve other people, and those other people aren't like me. And whenever it gets to the point like they say I don't give a fuck, it's because I'm comfortable with who I am as a person. I know what I want, I know where I'm going, and I'm pretty sure I have a plan on how the fuck it's gonna go. So with everybody, when you wake up in the morning, those are things that should run through your mind. Those are things that you should be putting together and saying, yeah, this is what I wanna do. And if you were like, this isn't what I want to do, you have to find a way to change it. And again, that rolls back into real life and social media, because now with social media, we watch it all day long. How many people in here on social media at least an hour a day? Not at one full point, but she's like, yeah, shit, I'm on at 6, I study, I'm 4 or 5 hours a day, maybe. That's how I run everything. But the one thing that I have noticed is even me, I consider myself to be relatively strong-minded. I know what I want, I know where I'm going, and I still get wrapped up with seeing someone else's vacation. I still get wrapped up with seeing someone else's love life, their relationship, and how wonderful it is. And I start to become jealous or envious, and it kind of fucks with me. You know what I mean? Anybody else feel like that? You see it happen. And the one thing that you need to pull away from it is to make sure that you can conceptualize your own life and bring the realness to yourselves. Like, no, this is okay. I need to do these things myself. Don't get tied up in the bullshit. But yeah, that's where this whole image has come from. And whenever I do these types of things and talk to people, what I want people to pull away from me, what I want people to pull away from the most is that it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to make a mistake. I've made a ton of mistakes in my life. I'm going to continue to make a lot of mistakes. It's going to happen, that's how you learn. But whenever you make a mistake, you have to learn from it. Every single experience that you learn from. In college, I did a lot of drugs. It used to terrify me being the clean-cut white kid in bodybuilding in the beginning, because when someone would meet me, they'd be like, or someone would be like, hey, I remember you from college, and I'm like, oh fuck. Is this gonna be the one guy that outs me for partying so much? What's gonna happen? Is this gonna come on blast that I used to do this or that or all these crazy things? And then, again, that was because back then I didn't quite know who I was. And now, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I did that. I can't change it. I cannot change my past. I can't change the shit I did. I can't change anything like that. But what I can do is learn from it. and be self-aware of what the fuck was going on in my life and what put me into that situation. And also find out that I really like drugs. And I probably shouldn't do them for that reason. You know, whenever I talk to young kids, I'm like young high school kids and college kids, and it's like, you know, they're like, drugs are bad, they're gonna ruin your brain. Well, yeah, but nobody told you really gonna fucking like them. You know, there's a drug that reaches everybody's personality. If I put 10 drugs in front of each person in this room, nicotine, alcohol, food, you know, the sugar, heroin, pills, cocaine, marijuana, the list goes on. One of those is gonna grab a hold of you and not fucking let go. One is gonna grab a hold of you and hold you tight, and you're gonna be like, I had a really fucking good time last night. I liked it. And you're like, then you continue to want to do that, and little did you know that that was its purpose. And I fortunately, whenever I was in college, doing those things, partying, all this shit, I was fortunate enough to pull myself out of it. Because I'm sure everybody in here knows someone that didn't get pulled out. I'm sure there's people still battling little issues with things. I still do to this day. There's reasons I don't go out and party in Vegas. You don't do that. But those are the things, again, that like you can't pretend that they don't exist in life. You can't pretend that the fucking mayhem does not exist, because that's what social media doesn't show. It doesn't really show that crazy mayhem side of life. And when we go on to Instagram, we go on to Instagram for a specific reason. You know, you can follow everybody that you want and see things that you want. On Facebook, it's kind of different because it almost, I mean, me personally, I can't stand Facebook because of the negativity. You start seeing too much of the news, too much politics, too much religion, too much of the shit that just causes fights. And we get sucked right into it because it's like a train, it's like a car wreck. Who doesn't like looking at it? But those are why, you know, the videos I do, what I believe one of the reasons we have success is because we're cutting through all the bullshit. And, you know, I'm guessing in here a lot of people have a lot of questions for me when it comes to steroids or life or supplements and nutrition and all those things, because I'm the one person that's not gonna bullshit you. I'm the one person that's probably gonna say a lot of shit that you did not wanna fucking hear. And there is a lot of people in the industry, quite a few people in the industry, that like when you see them face to face, they shoot you straight. But it's hard because whenever you're on camera and, you know, we're filming this, putting it on YouTube, everybody's gonna see it. Everybody's gonna judge you. Everybody's gonna say something about, you know, what I'm wearing. People are gonna say something about, oh, he did drugs, he's a drug addict. Oh, he did this, or, oh, he's a fucking juice head, you know? Okay. What do you want me to do about it? I still gotta pay my fucking bills tomorrow, dude. Are you paying my bills? Nope. You know, if the people aren't paying your bills, fuck them. You know, they don't matter to you. That's an important thing that I learned in life, and as I moved on to it. But yeah, no, this has been a wild ride. But like I said, the one thing that you should pull away from any video that we do, whenever I do videos, I want people to be educated, I want people to be informed, and I want people to get a different perspective on life. You know, whenever passing judgment upon people is something that I used to do. You know, I still catch myself doing it here and there, but I kind of look at it from a different world, and I don't want people doing that to me. I don't want people passing judgment upon my children. I don't want people passing judgment upon Bob, people I care about, anybody like that. But myself, you know, and I'm sure some people in here feel the same, like, fuck them, don't worry. But if it was their wife, oh, really, dick? That's how you feel about her, huh? It kind of changes. So every person has to, you know, be aware that whenever someone passes judgment, it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, look at things from a different perspective. Understand that, like, you know, you do the same thing sometimes yourself.
I think a lot of that comes with age.
Yeah.
As you get older, it's easier to do that.
Yeah, sure. And you know, I see these young kids over here, and it's like, you know, whenever I was that age, and I was just saying, even whenever I was younger, shit, I was so worried what people thought of me. I was so terrified somebody was going to say, yeah, Seth used to do a ton of blow. Oh, I really didn't want that coming out yet. That sucks. But at the same time, I can't change it. And I get a lot of flack right now because this fucking video is gonna go on YouTube. I have a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old daughter. You don't think they watch YouTube? You don't think people, her friends, parents' friends are gonna see these videos? What are they gonna say about it? You know, what's gonna happen? I don't know, but I know one thing's for sure. If I fucking hide the truth from my kids or hide the truth from people, what the fuck good's that doing to anybody? My kid, I tell my 9-year-old, I say, don't watch my YouTube videos. And she's like, why? I said, they're not for children. Okay. My child has respect for me. She says, okay, Dad. And then whenever we release a video she sees on Instagram, she's like, oh, you released a video? I'm like, yeah, you can't watch that one. Oh, we did a training video. You can watch a training video. I can? Yeah, but don't watch any of the other videos. Those are the things that, you know, that's another thing that I hold pretty close to my heart is how I raise my children. But at the same time, that's a fear I have. But also, if I do not stay true to who I am as a person, I'll never reach my full potential. And those are things that young people have to understand, and everybody has to kind of gain perspective of at some point in their life if they want to excel as a person. You know, better yourself, become a better person. That's something that I push really hard, you know, every single second. And that's, again, why I got to admit my faults. And that's, you know, whenever you look at like addiction and rehab and rehabilitation with things, the first thing they always say is you have to admit it to yourself. Well, sure, that's fucking great. Wow, that statement sounds really easy. But not whenever you are something that you're not proud of. You know, whether it be anything, whether you cheated on your spouse, and it's like, you cheating on me? No. Yes, you did. I fucking know you did. I have fucking proof that you did. Nope, I didn't do it. You're a fucking cheater. No, I'm not. I'm not that person. But you're still having trouble admitting that. It's not drugs, it's not alcohol, it's an emotion. And those are things that, you know, aren't talked about, and whenever they are talked about, it's really uneasy. And for me to become who I want to be, I'm going to talk about all those uneasy subjects. But going back to, you know, with my kids and watching these videos and everything, like I said, if you don't ever reach that point in your life, you might not, some people never do. I'm fortunate enough that I was aware enough that that's what I had to do to become a better person. In some people's cases, that isn't what it takes to become a better person. It might be different. But you also have to realize that and be self-aware of those things. But yeah, you know, I still have my own fears. I still have my own things that make me uneasy. And with my kids, that's one of them. Because if someone says, oh, that's Seth Feroce, he's, you know, a fucking juice head. And then it's like all of a sudden my 9-year-old turns into a 12-year-old, turns into a 15-year-old. And it's like, now she's getting picked on because of the shit that I said. You know, that can happen. So what do I have to do to make sure that she is prepared for this? The only way to do that is tell her about it. Be real with her. Don't lie to her. Because everybody in here also knows that this younger generation of people that are continuing to come up are different than the older generations. You know, it's within, for me, I grew up, and you guys are in a small town too, hard work is that is something that is held high. Doesn't matter what you do, you just better work fucking hard at it. We'll overcome the fakeness of the world or the things that really don't matter. And again, that's the whole real life aspect of this all. And for me on social media, you guys see it. Y'all follow me, y'all see it. Y'all see the real life aspect of it. And there are people on social media that are being real with people. But then at the same time, you know, I see people that are as fake as they fucking come, and they got 750,000 followers on Instagram. I'm like, what is going on right now? This many people can't fucking like you. Like, I know you're a douchebag, you know? And I mean, right now, Mark Lobliner, I love that guy. Dude's a hardcore, he's a hardcore guy. And he called out Brad Castleberry. You guys know who that is? Yeah. Everybody's like, yeah, that guy. It's like the whole fake weights thing, you know? And you know, whenever I first glanced at it, I was like, oh, bro's killing it, you know, 700,000 followers. You know, he's getting like 1,000, 2,000 comments, on his Instagram, on his posts and all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, those are some impressions. Like those in a sense, you know, are dollar signs for other companies to sponsor you. Those are dollar signs for someone running a company, because Instagram and Facebook and they have algorithms run on those things. And then I started reading them. Nobody likes that fucking guy. They just follow him to bust his balls. Those are things and it's, the industry's, you know, there's starting to be little turns where I see that, like, the real life aspect of everything is coming back into play. You know, real life is what it's all about, because we live it every day. And you know, it's okay to get tied up with the BS of Instagram, social media, because I do it too. You know, whenever I watch any YouTube videos, it's like I'm going to be informed, educated, and entertained. Like, that's what YouTube is. How many people in here go to YouTube? That's why you're good. You're like, I'm going to watch some funny shit today. And then you get pulled into zip popping. Like, how the fuck did this occur? I can't believe I'm watching zip popping for 30 minutes. These videos have 2 billion views. But the same goes for everything. And you know, me personally, I want to see positivity. Whenever I follow somebody and what I watch, I want to see the good of the world. Even though that we know that this whole, that life is very difficult, it's not always rainbows and blowjobs. It's fucking hard, man. Yeah, who doesn't like rainbows and blowjobs? I mean, most guys in here love them. But that's like, and whenever, and that kind of contradicts what I've been talking about at the same time, because I look at it, I'm like, all I want to do is see positivity. I just want to be happy. And then you're like, no, Seth, this is fucking, real life's tough. You got to talk about the adversity. You got to talk about the fucking grind. You got to talk about that person that's working 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, and they're still not fucking making ends meet. That's some shit. That's tough. You talk about the people that are grinding their balls off, and then some wild shit, a couple downturns happen in their life, and their whole entire personal life comes crashing down, but they still have a job or a company to uphold. And it's like, oh fuck, man, that's tough stuff. You got to talk about the real life aspect of it, but at the same time also keep things positive. You know, and that's important, and that's what, in a sense, everybody should do with their own lives, and kind of every now and then pull back whenever you notice you start getting sucked in, or you notice that you start kind of drifting away from your relationship, or you notice that you kind of fucking start not liking work, or just, you know, like not being who you actually are. Because everybody here knows deep down who the fuck they are. They know what they want in life. It's just one of those things that you kind of forget how fucking hard it is to become that person. It takes years of grinding. It takes fucking just countless nights of you reminding yourself what's important. And, you know, with that, it's kind of, you know, make sure that you're aware of those things and keep positive about everything, and make sure that you can gain something from everything that you do. Even the negative things, even those crazy times that I've had, I just learned that those aren't for me. I like them, but they're not for me. This one here, don't do that. These situations that you're put in, you need to remember, you gotta pull something from it. It's like right now with where I'm at with my, you know, with bodybuilding or fitness, or however you want to look at it, I'm not going to compete again as a bodybuilder. It's just not for me. It's not, there's a few reasons. One being my children. You know, whenever at the IFBB level, whenever I go to do a show, I'm going to fucking win. That's my goal. I'm not going to do a show. Me personally, whenever I go to do something, I want to go to fucking win. And if I'm going to win, that means that I got to go up against the best 212s in the world. That means I'm going to go chase Flex Lewis. Well, to chase that motherfucker, I better get on some serious shit. That means I'm going to be running a lot of gear. That means I'm going to be focusing every single fucking day on achieving that goal. I don't have the time, and my conscience has taken way too over, and I'm not going to take 700 mgs of Tren a week. I'm not gonna go back up to taking 10, 12 IUs of growth a day. I'm not going to do those things. That's just not in me anymore. And those are things that, you know, I have to be aware about, and I have to be open about, and say, yeah, that's the real shit there, because at that fucking level, that's what it takes. And whenever you start talking about, there's a 212. We're talking about the big guys. It's like, oh shit. You know, whenever you hear that a problem exists or happens in their life, you know, personally, like I think Justin Compton just, you know, he's put up a picture, and he's, you know, he lost like 70 pounds. Well, you know, shit happens. That's the real life portion of it all. And he was probably, he didn't post for a while, but those are things that are real, you know, and you know, that's one of the reasons that I'm not doing it. But, you know, so going forward with everything, for me personally, it's kind of what I want to do. I want to make sure that I stay true to myself, don't lie to myself, because I love taking 700 bigs of Tren a week, but at the same time, it's not for me anymore. You know, I love taking, you know, 12, 15 IUs of growth a day because I can eat whatever the fuck I want and grow, but it's like, nah, that's probably not a good idea. Those are all things that you have to be aware of. You have to make sure that you understand they exist, they're there, it's possible to do all that stuff, but you also have to make sure that, you know, you're educated on it. And at some point in professional bodybuilding, all that shit goes out the fucking window. It all goes out the window. Because that's why I love professional bodybuilding. It's the one fucking sport or entertainment industry where the people that run it are like, yeah, there's no fucking rules. There's no rules at all. All we want you to do is show up and look as wild as fucking possible and give us a show. Yeah, that sounds like a fucking place for me. Let's do it. Let's do some wild shit. And whenever you, like, you know, and another question, people are like, oh, you seem like a level-headed guy. I'm like, well, I am, but I'm also fucking crazy. We all are. Everybody has that. There is all that level, and in bodybuilding, that's what it is. It is a wild world. And anybody that's in it, you're like, yeah, it's wild. That's why we all are attracted to it. You know, that's the same thing with people that are into adrenaline junkies. You're like, I ain't jumping out of no fucking plane. I'm not going deep sea fishing in the middle of the fucking ocean with great white sharks. No, man, you're fucking out of your mind. And then they're like, why are you doing what you do? That shit's crazy. Perspective on it. You know, but and like I said, I just find out what I like, what you want to do, and figure out where you're going. But, you know, to wrap things up with my portion of it, I'll say it again, I said it already, with this, out of what I talk about or any videos I do, just gain a little bit more perspective on life. You know, I believe that I didn't do that at a younger age. I think if people would have told me about that, what perspective is and how to look at something from a different angle or through somebody else's eyes. You always heard your parents say, if you were in his shoes, well, no, kind of put yourself in that situation. You know, realize that, you know, whenever you're having trouble paying bills, all of a sudden you start kind of feeling a little different. That's a growing point in life as a young person. You know, if things all of a sudden get really tough, that doesn't mean you go and run to someone to get help. That means you work your fucking balls off until you can't. You're working harder and you still can't fucking get there. That's when you ask for help. It helps you gain a little bit more testicular fortitude. It helps you gain a little bit more perspective on the people that do have nice shit that you see work constantly. That's perspective. You're like, oh, you know, like Sonny, he says he works 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. Has anybody in here ever worked 21 straight days? That's some fucking shit. You don't have any days off, or that's a different ball game. Then you're like, yeah, he gets 3 weeks off though. I'm like, yeah, but then for the 21 days on are tough. You know, working in the oil field, working in construction, you know, a lot of people that do that work hard in one industry or blue collar work, it's like, what do they do when they're done work? They go find another thing to do, keep themselves busy, and it turns into work, a way to make money. That's the real life portion. So gain some perspective. You know, use social media as an avenue to make sure that you stay positive in your life. Don't get too wrapped up into it. Make sure that you enjoy what you're looking at. Make sure that you contribute positively in social media and most of all in real life. You know, because I do my best to treat everybody the same. You know, whether you're a multi-millionaire or the fucking janitor at the school, everybody serves a purpose. Everybody has something to offer this world. And again, it rolls back to perspective and understanding that, you know, me, when I retire and I'm not doing or retire, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But like, whenever I see myself later in life, like, I absolutely love kids. I'll probably be the dude that is a janitor at a school, at an elementary school, wearing fucking suspenders, waking up every morning, eating donuts, drinking coffee, walking through the school, doing that, or driving a school bus. You know, it's just because it's a simple life. It's some things that would require the good shit of the world, as I call it, you know? But, you know, make sure that you're pulling away and gaining perspective. That's really whenever any video you see or posts, that's my goal. So, yeah. I'm open for questions now. If anybody has any, or if anybody has fucked up questions that they don't want to ask aloud in front of a group, you could probably write them down and I'll answer them, or anybody wants to, anything like that. Or if you have a list of questions already.
Sorry,